Welcome to this discussion on Savism and Saiva Siddhanta. Savism and Saiva Siddhanta are being taught in IGNOU under two programs, namely the BA Philosophy program and the MA Philosophy program. We have several courses under these two programs, and Indian philosophy is the course under which Savism and Saiva Siddhanta are being taught. This is a very important topic of discussion in the Indian philosophy, and therefore we are pleased to have Professor R. Gopalakrishnan, Professor and Head of the Department of Philosophy, Madras University, who has kindly agreed to be with us for this discussion. Professor Gopalakrishnan has got about 34 years of experience in philosophy. He has a PhD in philosophy, and he is also the chief editor of a journal on Saiva and Saiva Siddhanta. And to begin with the discussion, I would request Professor Gopalakrishnan to tell us whether Saivism is a religion, and can you briefly explain Saivism as an established faith?
Thank you, Professor Thomas. Saivism is a well-established religion. It is one of the most living religions in the world. Millions of people are practicing Saivism, and it is a part and parcel of Hinduism, and it is a religious sect which considers Shiva as the supreme god.
Okay.
Saivism is an intellectual faith. It is not merely a pure religion. If it is pure religious ideology, then there will be superstitions and blind observances. To avoid this, saints and sages have formulated the doctrines also. So it comes under intellectual faith.
Professor, can you tell us how Saivism actually originated, when it originated, and by whom it originated?
Like other world religions, it does not have any individual founder. In all the religious sects of Hinduism, we do not come across any founder, originator.
Okay.
So the convention is, or the popular belief is, it has been created by God himself. So as far as Saivism is concerned, it is Lord Shiva who is the founder, and a large number of saintly souls who have received his grace abundantly have revealed their experiences, and they form the contents of the religious faith. And we don't come across any individual founder. Conventionally speaking, Lord Shiva's name has been found out from the Vedic tradition, namely Rudra Shiva, Rudra Pasupati. Pasupati means Lord of the souls. So Rud means red. Lord Shiva is having red complexion. Okay. Therefore, the word Shiva must have been originated from Rudra. Other than this, the worship of Shivalinga has been found out all over the world from time immemorial. Therefore, we cannot say exactly when Saivism was originated, but the relics of Shiva worship have been discovered in the Mohenjo-daro and Harappa excavations. So the Sir John Marshall's report says that Saivism as a religion was found even during the time of Indus Valley civilization.
Okay. Now, having said about the origin of Saivism, can you also explain to our students about the kind of texts or the scriptures that are being used in Saivism or Saiva tradition?
The basic scriptures are in two languages. One is in Sanskrit source, another is Tamil source. As far as the Sanskrit sources are concerned, the Vedas are considered as the general texts or the generic scriptures. The Saiva Agamas, they are called the specific scriptures. The fundamental difference between these two is this, that the Vedas are prescriptive and injunctive, whereas the Agamic scriptures are descriptive. They describe how to worship God, what are the materials that are to be offered as oblation and worship. So Agamas are also considered as primary importance as far as the scriptures are concerned. Then the Puranas, Idihasas are also considered as the basic text in Sanskrit source. In Tamil source, we have the 12 canonical literature, which are nothing but the spontaneous outpourings of the saints. So when they stand before the God in a temple or outside, they get some kind of inner vibration and a kind of stirring of their souls, and they spontaneously reveal their experiences. So when they reveal their experiences, the followers have been writing them, and then they have been codified, edited, and they are given to us in the form of religious scriptures. When they reveal their experiences, they directly or indirectly refer to God, the nature of the soul, the nature of the world, etc., etc. They form under the legitimate province of the philosophers. Therefore, the sages with the metaphysical bent of mind enter deeply into the study of these devotional scriptures and cull out the implied philosophical meanings, and they form the philosophical treatises. So we have 14 Siddhanta Shastras. They speak about 3 important realities in Saiva Siddhanta called Padi, Pasu and Pasa. Padi means the Lord or the leader, etc., etc., the leader of this universe, the Supreme Lord. Pasu means, literal meaning of the word Pasu in Tamil is cow. The soul is like a cow, an animal, because it is a combination of both animal and divine qualities, and it is tied up with a 3-stringed rope called Pasa, the bonds, Anava, Karma and Maya. So they develop this kind of 3 realities through the 14 philosophical scriptures called the Siddhanta Shastras. This is the contents of the Saiva Siddhanta scriptures, sir.
Can you name some of these, among these 14, some of the most important scriptures or Siddhanta that we are talking about?
Okay, sir. Even the religious scriptures, we have the Devaram hymns. Devaram means honey flowing songs.
Okay. Then
Tiruvasakam, for which the great Reverend G.U. Pope translated Tiruvasakam, the holy utterance, and then Tirumandiram, both philosophical and religious work, and the Periya Puranam, which deals with the life portrayal of 63 Saiva Nayanmars or the saints. So we have a great collection of devotional songs or utterances in Saivism. Regarding the 14 Siddhanta Shastras, Meghandar's Vijnana Bodham is considered as the great one or the best one, which consists of only 12 sutras. The quintessence of Saiva Siddhanta doctrines are made available in that particular literature, Vijnana Bodham, and his followers have developed the philosophical doctrines of Saivism based on these particular fundamental scripture, Vijnana Siddhiyar, Vina Venba, then Unmai Vilakkam, Sivaprakasam.
Okay, having narrated about the kind of texts that Saivism has, can you also tell us about whether there are different sects within Saivism or different schools of thought?
Yes, yes, sir. We have major schools in Saivism which are 4 in number. One is the southern school of Saivism or the Tamil school, which is called Saiva Siddhanta. Then in Karnataka region we have Veera Saivism, or also known as Lingayata. Okay. They wear the linga on their body to identify this linga and anga are united. Body and God are none other than non-dual. So to identify this, they have developed a kind of philosophical and religious sect called Lingayata or Veera Saivism. Then we have Kashmir Saivism, which is also known as Pratyabhijna school. It was developed in the Kashmir valleys, and this school starts like Saivism and passes through Shakti Vishishtadvaita and culminates in Advaitic philosophy. And then we have Siva Advaita of Sri Kanta, which is an interpretation of the Upanishadic texts from the Saiva Siddhanta point of view by Sivacharya.
There are also various schools of Saiva Siddhanta. So can you talk about the philosophical position of the school of Saiva Siddhanta?
Yes, sir. The word Saiva and Siddhanta is a healthy combination of both religion and philosophy. If there is pure religion, as I explained to you already, it will lead to superstition and blind observances. If there is pure philosophy without a scope for practice, then it will land in dogmatism and dry intellectualism. To avoid these two extremes, there is a balanced way of religious doctrines meant for practice. So all practices are explained from philosophical perspective, all philosophical doctrines are put into practice. So among the three realities known as Padi, Pasu and Pasa, Pasu or the soul and Pasa are as eternal as Padi. The three realities are eternal, beginningless. But the Pasa or the bonds, namely Anava, Karma and Maya, can bind only the soul. They can seldom go to Padi, who is beyond all these things. So once Padi comes to the rescue of the Pasu or the soul, then Pasa will not be there. They will not be destroyed. If they are destroyed, then they cannot be eternal. And if they still persist, liberation is impossible. Therefore, the Siddhantins give a via media solution that they will lose their enforcement or vitality. Anava or ego will be there in a refined way. That means I feel proud that I am one among the devotees of Lord Shiva, not the other way of egocentrism. Then karma or actions, hitherto self-centered actions will be God-centered actions. Then Maya or the material products will not affect the soul any longer. Therefore, all the three impurities will not be there. So the soul will be purified and get enlightened and emancipated. This is the quintessence of Saiva Siddhanta philosophy. To substantiate this, the model of a Saiva temple can be taken for example. In the sanctum we have the Sivalinga, that is Lord Shiva's representation, manifestation. That is Padi. Pasu is the bull, which is in front of. In Hinduism we come across almost all gods and goddesses have one kind of animal that represents the soul, because the soul is like animal or behaving like animal, and the altar adjacent to the bull is the Pasa or the binding factor, which is pulling the soul always along with it. So the symbolism is that the soul must get rid of these bonds and move towards God and live in His company eternally.
Can you tell us about the nature of God in Saiva Siddhanta?
In Saiva Siddhanta, God is described as Shiva, which means auspicious. Shiva is the most auspicious God, Kalyana Gunatva. He in himself is formless, Arupa. He is all pervasive. But the saints have, through their yogic experience, had some vision of God, and they have been revealed in the form of songs. From such songs we come across several forms of Lord Shiva. It is called Rupa. So one such form is the famous Nataraja form, Dakshinamurti form, Kalyana Sundarar, Bhikshadanar, Somaskandar. Several forms are there, and these forms are not flesh and bones. It is gracious forms. He appears and disappears, and he, in order to facilitate the devotees, a permanent device is required. Only the eminent souls and enlightened persons can have these forms in their vision. But for a common man to worship, a permanent device is required, for which Lord Shiva himself has assumed a form called Linga form. It is called Rupa Arupa, both form and formless. It is a form not like a man or animal. It is a Linga form. It is the only form of its own kind. No other form can replace it. And it is formless, because what kind of form we cannot explain this. Therefore, it is a healthy combination of both form and formless.
So if that is the nature of God in Saiva Siddhanta, then what is the nature of soul?
Even before that, I will explain the philosophical implication of Nataraja form. In the Nataraja form, in one hand Lord Shiva has the drum. The drum symbolizes the nada or sound through which creation is being done. And in one hand he shows Abhayahasta, that means preservation. Whatever is created is to be preserved. In the left hand he has one fiery pot which symbolizes destruction. in the suppressed right leg there is a demon. It symbolizes the Tirodhana Shakti or the power of concealment, where so many things are concealed from our knowledge because of our egoism. Then in the lifted left leg, grace comes out. Therefore, the whole of Nataraja form is full of philosophical implications and symbolism.
Okay.
So out of grace he creates, out of grace he preserves, out of grace he destroys, out of grace he conceals, out of grace he bestows his grace.
Okay.
This is how we have to understand. In the Sivalinga form, we have the both combination of both male and female aspects. The female aspect is conceived as Shakti, the mother goddess. So in Saivism or Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, both Shiva and Shakti are not two separate entities, they are one. Shiva is the passive principle and Shakti is the active principle. Both in their happy union create this world. That is the idea. Regarding the nature of the soul in itself is pure. It is like a diamond dropped in an ink bottle. It will assume the color of the ink in which it is dropped in. Like the rain water which is pure, it assumes the color of the soil in which it is poured down.
Okay.
Like that, the soul's nature is, with whom it comes across, it will assume that person's or that thing's qualities and capacities. So it has no originality of its own. But through its Chit Shakti or potential power, it is able to know the outside world through the help of the mind and the sense organs, but it cannot know itself. Therefore, it requires Shiva's grace. So Shiva's grace is already there in everybody's soul. Therefore, Ishvara Chit Shakti is to be kindled, is to be promoted. So through Ishvara Chit Shakti or the potential power of Lord Shiva embedded in every soul, the soul is able to know itself and God within itself. So this is how Saiva Siddhanta explains the nature of the soul. Apart from that, the soul is of Sat and Asat. It is a combination of both Sat and Asat. This is not contradiction, but complementary, in the sense that whenever it is in the company of Sat or people with good qualities, it will assume their qualities. Whenever it is in the company of Asat or bad qualities, it will assume that particular qualities. Therefore, ultimately the soul is expected to obtain Sivasat. That means the potential power of Shiva is to be obtained by the soul. Otherwise, the soul will be in eternal damnation or condemnation, that it will be suffering. So suffering is the common nature of the soul because it has been eternally bound by the impurities. These impurities catch hold of the soul, and through ego, whenever the ego comes, then self-assertion and self-possession takes place. It asserts, I am everything, but for me nothing will move in this world. Then it tries to possess everything which it comes across.
If so, then what is the means of liberation in Saiva Siddhanta?
In that case, the first and foremost thing that is expected of a true Saivite is, through the constant prayer, consistent worship and the systematic understanding of Saiva faith, the soul has to remove ego.
Okay.
The first requirement is I, not I, but Shiva in me. Everything is taking place through Shiva. Then in that case, the problem of evil is also resolved. So even if evil comes to us, it is Shiva's grace who is causing me, who is testing me, so that I will be purified. Then once evil or suffering is removed through ego, then all actions will be selfless actions or God-oriented actions. That means fellow feeling will come. I must work not for myself alone, I must work for everybody else. So service is the true motto of a true genuine Saiva saint or devotee. So he must serve his men. Service to mankind is service to Shiva. That is the slogan made by the Saiva saints. Then Maya or the material products will not be affecting the soul. That means the eyes will be opened, but will be blind to the objects. Once these three impurities are annihilated, then the soul is purified and it will enjoy the perennial bliss of God abundantly and permanently and enjoy the company of Lord Shiva. And another thing in Saiva Siddhanta is Shiva's temple and Shiva's devotees are to be equally venerated. They are the manifestations of God. One is the static shrine, another is the mobile shrine. This is how Saiva Siddhanta explains.
So, do you find some kind of a similarity between Saiva Siddhanta and any other religion, particularly in the Indian context?
In the Indian context, there are similarities between Saivism and Vaishnavism. All the three realities are approved in Vaishnavism also as Brahman, Chit and Achit.
Can you explain that?
In Vishishtadvaita philosophy expounded by Ramanuja, it is based on Vaishnavism, Vaishnava religion of the Alvar saints and the Puranas and Idigasas of the Sanskrit source, and the three important works of the Vedanta schools, namely Brahma Sutra, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. So, Ramanuja wanted to reconcile between absolutism and theism. So, he wanted to reject the absolutism of Shankara and introduce a new kind of theism, for which he has taken the clue from the life portrayal and experiences and revelations of the Alvar saints. Therefore, he introduced God as Vishnu Narayana, that is the Saguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman he removes. Then Maya also he removes as inexplicable thing. So, he takes the soul and the world as dependent realities of God, not independent realities. The Chit or consciousness and Achit the matter are like the equivalent realities like God.
See, you spoke about Saiva Siddhanta and you also spoke about various texts, scriptures and writings. Now, are they available in English or in other languages, or is it limited to a particular part of the country?
Majority of the texts are available in Tamil. Nowadays, an awareness have come to our people to spread this information and messages to all the people in the world. Large number of non-Tamil knowing people are living in the different parts of the world. Therefore, they must be benefited. Therefore, large number of books are being translated, and even through the magazines and the journals, they are being translated and sent to various foreign countries for studies and research work.
Does this mean that this Saiva Siddhanta originated in some part of Tamil Nadu?
We cannot exactly locate where it has been originated. So, only the scriptures are available. So, we cannot locate where exactly it was started and who started all these things, we do not know.
And what could be the kind of the year in which the period in which these texts might have been developed?
Actually, the available texts have been started from 3rd century onwards.
3rd century
onwards.
Okay.
Up to 9th century we have the devotional literature. Afterwards, from 12th century onwards, the philosophical treatises have been emanated.
And when you are actually the chief editor of Saiva Siddhanta journal in English, and who are the kind of people, the experts who are writing, contributing to this journal?
There are scholars. Sometimes if you do not get good articles, we collect the articles already available written by eminent scholars like Professor Devasenapati, who is an authority on Saiva Siddhanta, and sometimes some scholars from foreign countries, they also send articles, and sometimes if space is available, I myself contribute, I write articles.
And is there any formal program of study in any university set up in the higher education system where one is able to join for a formal program of study on Saiva Siddhanta?
In Madurai Kamaraj University and Madras University, there is separate departments of Saiva Siddhanta. All the devotional literature and the philosophical treatises are taught there in comparison with Indian philosophical schools. And in the department of philosophy, we have a separate paper on schools of Saivism. This is how philosophy, Saiva Siddhanta is taught in.
And one last question to our students, who are pursuing with this particular topic. Can you suggest some books, some journals which are commonly available in India?
Saiva Siddhanta by Professor Devasenapati in English, and then lot of Tamil books are also there, and I have also written 2 or 3 books in Saiva Siddhanta. Religion and Mysticism according to the Periya Puranam is my PhD thesis. It is published by Madras University, and I have written a book on essentials of Saivism, and it was published under the auspices of the Federation of London Temples of Savism. It is available in Chennai also, and a lot of journals are also available. Saiva Siddhanta journals is being published from long back. Therefore, lot of articles are also available in that particular
Professor Gopalakrishna, it was a very good informative discussion that we had about Saiva and Saiva Siddhanta. I am sure the students of philosophy who are pursuing their B and MA program in Indira Gandhi National Open University will definitely benefit a lot from this particular discussion, and I am sure this will also generate a lot of interest and debate among the students about this particular religion which you are talking about, that this religion is being practiced across the globe. Thank you so much for coming to Indira Gandhi National Open University and being part of this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.